Just because I'm a dumbass, don't mean that you can't be too. So don't be afraid to try this shit in your own home. Hello everyone, welcome to BeamNG.drive's West Coast drag strip for week 4 of the Beam Outlaws Challenge series. Using a handful of drag racing related mods available from the in-game repository, I've created an entire class of Street Outlaws and No Prep Kings inspired race cars using the game's default cars with various types of power adders. In this series so far, we've seen the supercharged, nitrous, and twin turbo outlaws run off one class per week in search of the 4 quickest of each to represent that power adder in the Beam Outlaws shootout at the end of the series. Tonight, these 6 centrifugal supercharged assisted entries will run off for the final 4 spots, or as they are most commonly known by the real world manufacturer's name, the ProChargers. The same rules apply tonight as the rest of the series so far. Only one power adder, supercharged, nitrous, twin turbos, or tonight's ProCharger, front engine and rear wheel drive, all the body panels in a roll cage, and much like with the twin turbos, in the interest of class parity, ProCharged cars are going to be limited to a 1-to-1 pulley ratio and 12 psi of boost with no overboost, aka scramble button. The first car up tonight is one of my favorites in whatever color or configuration it appears, the Gavril Burnside. A couple weeks ago, the best I could hope for out of this car would be not destroying itself before the finish line. But if you've seen Porky's Revenge, the video I released here, not the horrible teen sex comedy sequel of a sequel from 1985, you'll know that I finally solved most of the terrifying handling issues, and we might actually have a contender for the top right here out of the gate. How about that? A 5.78 at 264 miles per hour for the Burnside. If that time is good enough to stay in the top 4, this would be the first and only Burnside to move on in this series. Okay, time for the Gavril Grand Marshal. This car is running the 5s in all but the nitrous configuration so far this series. But so far at least, the only Grand Marshal to finish in the top 4 has been the nitrous version. We've seen the twin turbo car run a 5.94 last week, becoming the quickest Grand Marshal of the series yet. Let's see what the ProCharged version has. Dancing the front end all the way to a 5.859 at 254 miles per hour. That was a solid pass for the Grand Marshal right there. If this was week 1 or 2, that would be at or near the top. However, the pace has picked up over the last couple weeks, so we'll have to wait and see what the other cars can do. Here is the Bruckhelm Bastion. This thing has been pretty badass in both supercharged and twin turbo versions this series. I lack the parts to make a nitrous version, but I'm sure that would have been fast too. It's a bit heavier than the rest of the cars, but rarely goes anything but straight, and as we watched last week in turbo trim, it's very capable of running in the 570s given the power and the tune-up. Here we go. Straight down the middle to a 5.790 at 263 miles per hour for the Bastion. Not quite quick enough for the top spot though, and that locks the Burnside into the top 4 and a spot in the BeamNG's Outlaw Final shootout. You see how just easy this car is to drive when it's working well. It hung up a moment between first and second gears, costing it some time, but other than that, it felt about as good as you could ask for. Okay, here comes the Gavril Barstow. We'll see at least 3 of these in the final shootout at the end of the series. The supercharged, nitrous, and twin turbos all running well enough to earn spots so far. This is one of the more unpredictable cars though. It likes to lift the front end in each gear, but it's no guarantee it'll be pointing where you want it when it does it. It is a lot of fun to drive however, so I'm hoping to see a good pass here. Nice looking 5.825 at 267 miles per hour. Only good enough for number 3 however, and that will lock the Bastion into the top 4 in the shootout. If you have a car that mostly goes straight, a lot of the fine tuning comes in the converter settings. Getting the car to launch and apply power, and the transmission's ability to cope with that. When you hear a car in the rev limiter for a moment or so before shifting gears, that's a result of not quite getting something right. The next car to take a shot is the race car livery Gavril Bluebuck. We'll see the supercharged nitrous and twin turbo versions of this car again in the final shootout. It's been quick, fast, and mostly a pretty decent car to work with this whole series. For the most part, anyway. Grand Marshal is on the bump with a 5.859. The Bluebuck has run better than that in turbo trim. How will it perform with the ProCharger? 5.755 at 266 miles per hour to take the number 1 spot with the quickest pass on this channel yet. Hey, if you're enjoying this, don't forget to hit that thumbs up to remind YouTube that this is some pretty cool shit. If you'd like to follow along, subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss out on any of the action. Your support is what makes channels grow. If you have any questions or ideas, hit me up in the comments. If you're doing something similar, I'd love to hear about it. With that said, we bring out our last car of the night, the dominating Brockel Moonhawk. So far on this channel, the Moonhawk was the first unmodded muscle car in the 6s. It's number 1 in supercharged Outlaw trim, number 1 with the nitrous combo, and number 1 with the twin turbos. The twin turbo Moonhawk was the quickest car on the channel prior to the Bluebuck's run a moment ago. Let's see what the ProCharged version can do. What it does is make the quickest pass on this channel yet, a 5.735 at 259 miles per hour. Wow, the Moonhawk is one badass car. Come off the line a little bit soft, that's in the converter settings I mentioned. The rest of the pass was straight and smooth outside a little top end correction, and for the 4th week in a row, it sits on top of the leaderboards for its combination. That pass done, here's a look at all the qualifiers for the Beam Outlaws Challenge shootout coming in a couple weeks. I have 16 cars to prepare, and in between I'll be bringing you more features on how to build some of these badass machines. Thank you for watching, we'll see you all next time.